Well, the teams are in for the Essendon versus Brisbane game on Thursday night. There's a couple of changes. We're going to go through all of those changes and what it means right now. So first things first, Angus Clark has won the Rising Star for the week. This is a great effort because it doesn't normally happen in a player's first game. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than that. He's played one game and he's won the Rising Star for what was a terrific performance on the weekend, kicked the 3 goals and looked like a natural footballer already. I was thinking when I look at Angus Clark, I mean, he's 18 and he's played one game, but it already feels like he's 21 and he's played, 92 games. That's kind of how it feels when I look at him play. I think he seems to be already a player that exudes more maturity beyond his years. And he's the third Rising Star for this year behind Nate Caddy and Archie Roberts. So we're racking up the Rising Stars and we do look like we have a good, promising list for the years ahead. But that doesn't mean much for this match against the Brisbane Lions, which is going to be a very, very challenging match. So let's look at the teams as they were just announced. If you like this channel, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It helps the YouTube algorithm when you do so. It will ensure you never miss a video. It only takes 1 second to do so. And I just got off the phone with the YouTube CEO himself to arrange free subscriptions to my channel. So if you click on it, it won't cost you any money. So the Brisbane lineup, not surprisingly, is unchanged. They won last week. They didn't suffer any injuries. Wouldn't that be a good thing if we had no injuries? But they didn't suffer any injuries, so they won't make any changes to their team. Here is the team. It is exactly the same as it was last week. I think the big issue for the Bombers will be containing their small forwards. You look at their Charlie Cameron, not so much Will Ashcroft, Cam Rayner, Callum Archie. They're just so dangerous and they're all just goal kickers. I guess one thing about Essendon is our lack of key position defenders might not be too bad against Brisbane, given they've got Eric Hipwood and Logan Morris. Logan Morris is 190 centimetres. And Eric Hipwood is a good player, but he's not a great player. And I think not having McKay, while it's a blow, he's not particularly mobile. And when the ball hits the ground, there's always that danger that the Brisbane small forwards can really do their work. So maybe having a smaller defence might be I won't say it's an advantage because we've got too many good players out for it to be an advantage. But I think the lack of key defenders is going to be more of an issue next week against Carlton when we're up against Charlie Curnow and Harry McKay. I don't think coming up against Eric Hipwood and Logan Morris is necessarily that much of an advantage. If Redman and Laverty can somehow keep Hipwood and Morris quiet, it's really up to McGrath to do maybe a similar job on Charlie Cameron as to what McGrath did on Bobby Hill on Anzac Day. If you remember, McGrath kept Bobby Hill quiet. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge. That is their team. It's chock full of talent. A-graders everywhere. Dunkley and Neal in the following division. McCluggage in the middle. It's just a really good team. So the Essendon lineup. Who is in and out for the Essendon lineup? Well, as was named earlier in the week, Zak Johnson is coming in for his first game. Archer-Day-wicks is in the team. That is not surprising because Archer-Day-wicks was pulled out of the VFL side, which pretty much was a bit of a giveaway that he was therefore going to be playing in the AFL game on Thursday night. And Elijah Tsatas, in a good move, I think this is overdue, is in the team after 32 possessions and a close to best on ground performance in the VFL team. Ben McKay comes out of the team. Unfortunately, that looks like another month-long injury. We weren't quite sure. Yesterday I posted the injury news and McKay was to be confirmed. It looks like he's got a pretty nasty foot injury, which is going to keep him out for 4 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks. So what is it with these 4 to 6 week injuries? It's insane. Right? I'm used to these 1 to 2 week injuries here and there, but everyone seems to be out for a month or more. Zach Reid also out for 4 to 6 weeks, and Langford, of course, injured his quad in kicking the ball. So if you look at the Essendon team, the way they are lining up from the back line, and let's have a look at the back line first because that is really the most interesting. That is where we are vulnerable, I guess, this week. And it's up to these guys to really hold down the fort. We've got Archie Roberts, Jaden Laverty at fullback, and Andrew McGrath, who, like I said, probably gets the job on Charlie Cameron. Jackson Pryor, Mason Redman at centre-half back, and Zak Johnson to give us some run. There was a bit of talk that the Bombers looking at moving the ball a bit quicker. They were working on moving the ball a bit quicker at training, which is a good sign. I think it's something they're going to have to do. Across the centre line, Angus Clark again lines up on the wing for the second game in a row after lining up on the wing in the 2 VFL games prior to that. So that looks like it's going to be his position, at least for the time being. Can he go forward and kick a couple of goals again? Wouldn't that be great? Merritt in the centre and Dersma on the other wing. Nick Martin in the forward line. I love that down there. I know that you've got to take these positions with a grain of salt. It doesn't always mean they play there where they're lined up, but we'll just take it for what it is at the moment. Martin, Caddy and Perkins across the half-forward line. Kako, Wright and Hobbs across the full-forward line. The rucks are Goldstein, Caldwell and Durham. And the interchange bench is Elijah Tsatas, Jade Gresham, Will Setterfield, Matt Guelphy and Archer-Day-wicks. I have a suspicion Archer-Day-wicks will probably be the sub. That seems to be the way it's heading. Dylan Shield is the first emergency. Jai Menzie and Vigo Vicentini, I believe for the first time, is in the emergencies. The VFL team will be flying up to Brisbane anyway because the VFL team is playing on Friday. So there's, at least a little bit of symmetry there with the way the teams are, or with when the teams are playing. There was some suggestion that with the pre-season or the mid-season draft tonight, that Essendon could debut a player from the mid-season draft. Technically, if you play a player that's not an emergency, there is a fine. But I think the Essendon has asked the AFL if they could get an exemption from a fine in the event that they want to play a player who they pick up in the mid-season draft. I think the AFL in that... I don't think Essendon will play a player who they pick up in the mid-season draft in this match. They could. I don't think they will because I think... you're talking about playing a player that doesn't know their teammates, hasn't trained with the club, doesn't know the game plan, all that sort of thing. So I think it would be extremely unlikely. In the event that it did happen, I think the AFL would grant Essendon an exemption and they would allow Essendon to do so without being fined. Because, look, there's no funny business going on here. I mean, obviously, you've got a Wednesday night draft and a Thursday night game. I think Essendon would be well within their rights to say, look, we want to play this player. Don't fine us. I don't think it'll come to that. I don't think they're going to play... one of the players, but you never know. Wouldn't it be fascinating if that happens? So that is the official team. Elijah Tsatas back in the team, probably the big news there. We already knew Zak Johnson was getting ready for his first game and he's named on the field as well, Zak Johnson, so he won't be the sub. That's good news. Have a great day, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel. And as always, go Bombers.